My name's Sarah, and for my SACE research project, I have chosen to investigate the question, what is the process of writing and publishing a young adult fiction novel for first-time writers? Reading fiction is a popular pastime for many people and has been since the 17th century. Young adult or YA fiction originated in the Western world during the 1950s and 60s, when disposable incomes increased amongst young adults and they therefore became consumers. This caused dark but realistic and relatable novels such as S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders to be published in order to cater for this new demographic. Young adults are defined by the Young Adult Development Project as people aged between 12 and 25 years of age. However, young adult fiction is, according to Nolan Feeney, aimed at those aged 12 to 18 years old, and many older adults also read it. During the process of writing, authors nowadays need to keep in mind the fact that though reading is a popular hobby for many people, there are many reasons for people not to read. A survey conducted earlier this year found that many have limited free time, commitments, and other interests and preferences, as well as modern alternatives such as engaging in internet gaming and social media. Popular novels have also changed dramatically over time to cater for society's changing interests, and aspiring authors need to bear these factors in mind when writing their novels and know what they are in competition with. The question is, how do we write for this new group of people whose interests differ so greatly? This video will not only address the processes of writing a good fiction novel, but also publishing that novel and advertising it. The process of writing a good young adult fiction novel. According to Kay Butcher and N.L. Manning, a young adult novel should address contemporary issues, problems, and experiences with characters to whom adolescents can relate, considering contemporary work perspectives. Similarly, Courtney Carpenter, another online contributor, claims that best-selling fiction often has aspects that appeal to the intellect, emotions, and soul. Intrigue Publishing explains that protagonists or young people in young adult fiction novels are always thrust into extraordinary circumstances and cope with them using their own brains, skills, and courage. According to many experienced authors, a good young adult fiction story can be written following these steps. Firstly, decide on your protagonist and who they are, their interests and motivations. Get to know them, then you'll know what they'll do and how they'll respond to certain situations and where they'll end up. I had the privilege of interviewing author Roseanne Hawke, who believes that once you know this, the rest of the story should come easily. Step number 2. Teddy Wayne believes that you should then decide whose perspective you're telling your story from. This is important as it sets the tone used throughout the rest of the novel and the emotion put into telling the story. Is it going to be written in first person by the protagonist, including their thoughts and emotions, or by an omniscient narrator? After this, choose a setting, perhaps a place that you know really well, real or made up. If you are writing about another world, perhaps explain how it came to be and what it's like. Do the characters work? Go to school? What kind of food do they eat? What's the weather like? According to Naylor Hopkinson, these small descriptions make your story more engaging, compelling, and draw your readers into the character's world. Think of your favourite fictional novels set in other worlds: Harry Potter, The Hunger Games, Divergent, even the Chronicles of Narnia. Descriptions in these novels stir curiosity and creativity and play with our senses: touch, taste, sight, smell, and hearing. They can even give us a sense of motion or help us to make complex associations, piecing together the plot or a mystery. Step number 4. Plan a skeleton for your story. Record your ideas for the orientation, complication, resolution, and ending. Number 5. Create each character's voice through dialogue. According to A. Petronia, good dialogue comes from intimate knowledge of your characters. After writing the dialogue, read it out loud. Can you hear the characters' voices in your head? Imagine how they would sound? If not, change the wording or perhaps the speaker tags used. Instead of monotonously writing "they said," think about how the character said it. Did they whisper, call, shout, or ask? Dialogue helps develop characters significantly, and it's important to give the reader the right impression from the start. Number 6. Fill in the blanks. Decide how the character gets to each stage, then write the first draft of your story in as short a time as possible. This allows you to get all your ideas out. Don't share this draft with anyone, except maybe close family and friends. Number 7. Edit. Write 2 more drafts, so you'll have 3 overall. First one being, according to Optimize International, your chance to explore your story and your ideas. The second one to make major structural changes and clarify the plot, and the third for polishing, tidying and shining up your story in order to make it fun, interesting and enjoyable to read. Number 8, the fun part, share your work. Ask friends or family or an experienced author, if you know one, to read your novel and see what they think of it or what improvements they would suggest. Don't see these suggestions as downfalls, but rather steps to make you a better writer and increase your chances of being published. Encountering and overcoming problems. There are many pitfalls on the journey to becoming a successful author throughout the processes of writing and publishing. Firstly, writing. Everything's going well, you've got an idea in your head, but you've put pen to paper or perhaps finger to keyboard and no, nothing. You've hit a wall. You have the dreaded writer's block. Or maybe you don't. Author Roseanne Hawke believes that there is no such thing as writer's block, but there's always a reason why she can't write, and she'll be able to another day. There are many possible reasons for authors struggling to write, different for each writer. Some common reasons for this include a lack of ideas, a busy lifestyle, a lack of rest, and perfectionism. Writer Jeff Boynes advises being creative in overcoming these roadblocks, going for a walk, eliminating distractions, reading other books, listening to music, or brainstorming ideas in dot points. When Roseanne Hawke gets stuck or doesn't know what to do next in her story, she asks an expert in that field, if writing fantasy, a fantasy author, or even a child with a wild imagination. Encountering and overcoming problems in publishing. There are also many problems that authors can encounter once they have finished writing their book and want to publish it, such as financial issues and not knowing how to contact publishing companies. Rejection letters from publishing companies can also be very discouraging for new authors. Author Roseanne Hawke, however, believes that it's important to look at rejection letters from publishing companies as stepping stones to becoming a better author. Another deterrent for aspiring authors looking to publish can be the fear of criticism, or that they are too shy or too embarrassed to publish. This is where pseudonyms come in. These are pen names adopted by authors in order to conceal their identity. A well-known example is Emily Rodder, who uses this pen name when writing children's novels such as Del Toro Quest, and her real name Jennifer Rao when writing for adults. The process of publishing a hard copy novel. When you are happy with your novel and believe that it's ready to be published, read it over and edit it once more. Prepare your manuscript professionally. Author Moira Allen suggests using clear, readable fonts such as Courier, Arial, or Times New Roman in sizes 10 or 12, and leaving a 1-inch margin on each side. After that, get an editor to check it and help you to find and resolve issues in your text. They can also bring clarity to your novel without changing your voice. Next, decide on what method of publishing you are going to use, online or hard copy. Also, if you decide to publish a hard copy novel, do you want to self-publish or use a company? Both can be successful and researching both is suggested, but this video will only explain publishing a hard copy novel through a publishing company, as this is a common choice for first-time writers. If you do choose this option, researching different publishers can be extremely beneficial, as this allows you to find out which company suits you and your novel the best. After narrowing down your options and choosing one, read their submission guidelines, write your proposal with the insight of an editor or even English teacher, and revise your story once more. There is no reason to rush this process, and according to Jane Friedman, you want to be confident that you're submitting your best work. Once you are positive that it is your best work, send in a submission. But what happens once you have done this? Once you have sent in a submission, it is considered by a board of editors or similar, and the freshness, originality, and potential is discussed. If the manuscript is accepted, it is then scrutinized and reviewed by editors, and simple changes to fonts or layouts are made. Austen Macaulay Publishers then gets proofreaders to proofread the novel in order to identify and correct any factual errors, typos, or grammatical mistakes. After this, any major editorial suggestions are sent back to the author, and, once approved and finalized, the book is printed. Unfortunately, it can take up to 4 months or more for your book to be reviewed, and it can take many submissions to many different companies before your novel is accepted. If it is not, however, do not get disheartened. Many people know that J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter was rejected 12 times, but Stephen King's first novel was also rejected 30 times, and Chicken Soup for the Soul, an inspirational self-help book, which has sold more than 500 million copies worldwide, was rejected 140 times. Infinite Ideas in their book Get Published encourage writers to reject rejection and not give up. Marketing your novel. If your novel is accepted, there are many ways to advertise it. Austen Macaulay Publishers devise a marketing strategy in order to generate publicity and increase the book's demand. However, not all publishing companies do this, so it is best to have an idea of how you will advertise your novel if it does get accepted. Roseanne Hawke advertises her novels through contacting teachers, librarians, and readers through her website and posting the latest news on her Facebook page and Twitter account. Many authors, including Rachel Rubin and S.L. Farrell, believe that using these up-to-date methods is beneficial when advertising to young adults. Roseanne believes that it is also beneficial to have a blog or similar like John Green before publishing your first novel, as this gains you viewers and people interested in reading your book. Rachel explains that most teenage and young adult readers are not rich and therefore cannot and probably will not buy a book priced over $24, so it may be best to publish a paperback novel first, as they are often cheaper to buy. Overall, there are many thousands of books, websites, and videos suggesting tips for writing, publishing, and marketing, and this video only gives suggestions from a few. Keep in mind that each writer and their experience is different. The journey to becoming an author is completely choose your own adventure, and you cannot determine your outcome, how likely you are to get published, or to sell your books. Thank you to Teacher Gully Library for letting me film my video here. My reference list is in the description below. Please comment if you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching and good luck.